Hey, welcome everybody to the HTBox AllReady community stand-up. We meet kind of weekly throughout the year, at least a couple times a month. And this week we are getting ready. We've got some events coming up this week. We have some folks on the call who are
And looks like James is frozen, or possibly his signal ended. I'm not sure, one or the other, or he's holding very still. I'll jump in while James is, stiller than life for the moment. Someone could do a painting of him if they'd like. He was talking about our weekly stand-up. What we'll usually do is kind of cover topics, some of the things we're working on here, talk about some of our upcoming events, and some of the things that are going to happen with the project. I'm assuming this is still live and being recorded. If he's frozen, oh, looks like we have two Jameses now.
I think we are on here. Yeah, we might actually be signed in on the same account. Tony, did you sign in on the HTBox account as well?
No, I signed in as myself, unless did I?
Okay, well, I'm in like rural Manitoba, and apparently we have like we need that free internet from Facebook or something, like the internet balloons or something. That's I think what I need to be fixed here. Sorry, I'm interrupting as I join back in, but I'm back. So here we are.
I was just continuing your introduction, saying we normally cover topics. We go over some of the events that are coming up, some of the things that we're working on, as well as what's going on with the project and where we're going. So I'll hand it back to you, James, if you want to go through our normal roster.
Sure. Well, we'll just go as we appear here left to right on the screen. So we do have a couple of events coming up, and Justin is joining the call today. You are in a land of the eternally never-changing clocks, and you're running an event this week at your workplace.
That I am. We've got, I think, 18 of us signed up to for Thursday from 8:30 in the morning till about 4 in the afternoon, and do some testing stuff, some mobile stuff, and whatever else happens to pop up that people decide to do.
Right on. That's pretty awesome. And we also have Steve on the line, and you're doing a workplace hackathon as well, or codathon as well too.
Yeah, hopefully in 2 to 3 weeks' time, we'll be getting a bunch of the devs from our offices in Brighton, UK, together one evening after work to kind of go through some of the open issues, introduce them to the project, and hopefully get a few more people hooked on contributing.
Right on. Very good. I will go to Jim next if you want to fill us in on what's going on in your camp.
Sure. Actually, happy to be home in Chicago. Got to enjoy the World Series from Chicago's Emergency Operations Center, where we were watching all the festivities. Things in North Carolina are settling down as well, so looks like we're going to be, at least I'm going to be home and able to focus on this project for a while. I had a good meeting with Pascal Schuback, we discussed a lot of use cases, and so he's in the process of documenting those now. We'll get those together, and working with Tony, be able to post a lot more issues, have a lot more things for folks to work on as we look at a number of hackathons coming up through the end of the year. So that's what we've got going on.
Excellent. And I might throw it over to you, Tony, here to walk us through what we've got going on event-wise.
Yep, and actually I just realized I am logged in as the same account as you from when I ran this very haphazardly last week. Yeah, so
it might boot one of us out, but we can just join back in. We'll just keep
I don't know. It's weird. We're like breaking the world here. So yeah, we've got a number of events coming up. Just had the other gentleman speak about one of them. We've got on November 19th, glancing to the side to make sure I get the date right, .NET Zood in Eindhoven. And Richard Campbell will be there for that. We've got a couple of other things that are still in the works. We mentioned with Steve and a few others. November is looking to actually be a pretty busy time. We've got another one up in Canada we're talking with, but I don't know that we've landed on an exact date for that. As well as I think we're looking for a couple that'll happen in January as well. So we'll have now, we've got a few in November, a couple in December, and into January. So we've got a good rhythm going. To that end, we've been spending a lot of time on making sure we got the issue list populated, a lot of them tagged as jump in, which is our tag for issues which are kind of smaller in scope, work well for a codathon for, a couple hours or less than a day. As well as in the last week, we've had 2 or 3 folks jump on the project who we haven't worked with before. I don't remember all their names, but there was Matt and Tony and at least one other person who have jumped on some issues who haven't been before, so welcome to the project. And as we mentioned, we're driving towards a release in December. So if you're looking for what's high priority, what's the best things that can help us get there, go into our repository, go in the issues list, and we group them by milestones. There's one for November. It's got about 20 or 30 issues in there. A good number of them are tagged with jump in. And so those are going to be the ones that are going to be highest priority since we've got a milestone attached. And we're looking to use to drive to our release in December to actually get this live V1, if you will, although there's not really V1s in the cloud anymore, but V1, get it live and get it used by folks. And then one other tech update, after the Grace Hopper conference with some work from James and some testing by me, I think we're like this close to getting it compiling separately in VS Code, which also means VS Code on the Mac. And that's been a thing I really want to get in place just broadly, as well as for the hackathons, codathons. We get a lot of folks who show up with all kinds of different hardware and OS, and we want to make sure everybody can contribute.
Wonderful. Now we've got 6 open pull requests right now. They all came in the last day or so, actually, from Justin, who's on the call. So I will try and get those cleaned up here. But we are just plowing through. The last time I actually noted the number of closed pull requests, we were at 500, and we're about to push through 700 here. So this is just phenomenal. You know, coming in earlier on the project when we were at 28 pull requests, I think, when I first started, when I first joined already. So this is amazing just to see the community effort still lifted or lifting and growing as we move forward here. So that's been an exciting year for us here. I will actually be in Bellevue, Seattle on campus this next week, and looking forward to connecting with a couple members of the ASP.NET team. I'll also have Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'll actually be doing we'll be running the codathon or the stand-up next week I'll be down on campus and hacking away on the code base, and so I'm excited about that. I'll get these changes merged in for you, Justin, right after the call here. One of the other things that we've been working on is the implementation of a move to, we're not quite ready to move over to Notatime. There's expected changes in some of the public API that's exposed through that. So we're gonna be looking at that. But as we prep for that, we've made some decisions on how we're going to be handling date time and using date time offset. And Steve, I think you've been working a little bit with that. Did you have some comments on that? I know we're getting close. Dave Paquette's going to be working on finishing that here in the next couple of days. But did you have any comments on that?
No, it's been mostly Dave on this one, actually leading the way. I'm sort of keeping an eye on some of the comments and conversations, but I'm not that up to speed on it recently.
Okay, no problem. I know that we actually had a pretty good dialogue with John Skeet, who gave us, he's one of the authors of Notatime, and gave us some pretty good direction in a separate thread, and steered us down a path that will be more or less easy enough for us to transition over to Notatime, which should simplify things in the future. But primarily the issue that we're dealing with is, you know, we've got a unique scenario because dates for us are always going to be in the local time of the event. So it doesn't matter when the event is in Seattle and it's going to be at 8 a.m., it doesn't matter if you're registering from Hawaii or New York or Toronto, it's got to be in the time of that local event. So that's kind of like a high-level view of the problem, and when you get down into the details of it, it actually starts to get quite complex. But we've got a path that we've established for that. Dave Paquette has been doing a lot of the heavy lifting on that, and he's going to get that wrapped up for us here this week. And so excited to have some direction on that, and we'll have some strong documentation and guidance as well on the project. Anybody else have anything else before we close out?
So I know Tony was working on getting all the presentations together, so we kind of had an overview presentation. Didn't know where that was at.
Yep, so I gathered everybody's presentations together, put them in a OneDrive folder, and I've been sharing out the link. I thought I had sent it to you. If I haven't,
Yep. I've got the link. At one point you mentioned you were going to put a single one together. I didn't know if you were still planning that.
Planning would be the right word. There's, hours and the days and all the such. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely on the list, but I haven't really kind of pulled that together yet.
No worries.
Tony, I can help with that too if you need it.
Okay, I'll send you the link, Jim.
And Steve, did you send Tony the presentation you had done?
Yes, I did. Yeah, it's not in the
Perfect.
drive yet. I was just checking, but
Yeah.
I think you should have that in your Slack, Tony.
Yep.
Perfect.
Excellent. Okay, well, thanks everyone for joining us here, and we will reconvene next Saturday, same bat time, same bat chat, but it actually won't be in the same time. It'll
Right.
see we're going through a time zone thing ourselves here.
Well,
Steve wasn't sure when to be joining because of daylight savings and clocks are
we can
changing.
get philosophical about this because is it really, the same time, same place, the Earth's rotating around the sun? I mean, there's a lot of variables.
There's a lot of variables here. Yeah, absolutely. But if you have any questions, just check our channel on YouTube. There's a link to all the upcoming events, and that is where it should show in your local time. Fingers crossed. Should show in your local time when and where we will be meeting, and we will join you then. Thanks a lot, everyone. Cheers.